right, welcome to the podcast.
Back on.
Yep, we have Paul, co-host here, and we have some very special guests. We have Angela
Hello.
and Scott Arbogast.
Hello.
Nice. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Absolutely, you're welcome. And they own Century Roofing, and they're a local roofer down here in South Florida. And we wanted to have them on and just kind of get to know them a little bit more and talk about their business and stuff. And I know Paul is excited to get Scott out there to do an estimate on his house.
That's right.
He needs a roof like 10 years ago.
It's so funny. No, I
Heading out
definitely
there right
need
after
one.
this.
I definitely need one. So
I'm your guy.
once we figure out if we go up, is it cheaper to put it if you're going to re-roof? If you build up then out, I heard it's cheaper.
It depends on what kind of system you're putting on.
Got
It could go either way.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I would think it's more roof if you went out.
Yeah, it's just the roof geometry, and
Gotcha.
the engineering and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
That's required to go up.
For some reason, my house, I have a big roof lake. It's weird.
Oh, the house is big. What do you got, like 3,000 square feet? More? A little more, right?
Yeah, but it looks like it's like it's not a normal roof for like that size house.
Is it lower slope or is it higher slope?
I don't know.
I think it's lower.
yeah,
It's
so
not
that's kind
pitched as high.
of deceiving.
Yeah.
That's probably why.
Yeah.
So anyway, a little bit about you guys, and then we'll get into my roof when you come to my
Yeah.
house. So AJ said you grew up in South Florida. Where? And tell me exactly about what got you into this and where you guys are today.
Yeah, so we both grew up in Davie, went to high school together.
Wow.
Her aunt actually is the one who started Century Roofing in 1996.
Nice.
After we got married, I came along onto the team. Shortly after, I took it over, and now me and her are running it.
Wow.
Trying to get our name out there.
Congratulations.
Yep,
That's
thank you.
awesome.
Congrats.
Thank you very much.
So you guys been together since what grade?
Well, actually, we didn't really hang out together in,
No?
in high school.
We ran in different.
Gotcha. So you knew each other, and then you guys went your own way and you reconnected.
Correct.
Well, it's a whole nother podcast we could talk
Yeah.
about. We'll talk about that. So that's great. So now you're running the whole operation?
Correct.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's
1996, what is it, 27 years?
Yeah, I think it's 28 years
28
now.
years, wow.
Yep.
Yeah,
Going
we're
on
coming
30.
up on 30.
That's a long time.
Soon.
Yep.
That's a long
Yep.
time. So what do you guys do when it comes to like getting in touch with you? Like most people find you through Google, word of mouth. Like how has that business been built over that many years with such a good reputation?
So over the years, they didn't really do much marketing,
Okay.
any, if at all. It's all word of mouth. We're making some changes to that. We're on Angie's List and doing Google reviews.
Awesome.
Putting reels out on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. So
Cool.
we're kind of doing a new age of the roofing business.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my aunt was very old school, and so she was all referrals. It was word of mouth, and tell your neighbor about us, and it worked for a lot of years for her, and it's still working. We still get those in.
That's great.
We want to expand as well into the digital world.
Yeah, we get a lot of residual stuff. We just finished a roof today, actually, from a guy. We did his roof 25 years ago. And he called us to get it done. He didn't call any other roofing companies. He didn't want any other quotes.
Well,
He was happy with us.
so as a business owner, obviously you could have worked for anybody, and you guys decided to take this entrepreneurship by the horns. What got you to the point where you said, you know what, I want to be a small business owner?
It's just the years of, being in other trades and working for other people and, learning, kind of the ins and outs of contracting. It just seemed like the right thing to do. Working for myself, doing things the right way and treating customers the way I want to treat them instead of the way some of these bigger companies, treat you like a number. We're more family oriented as family business. And
Nice.
I think
personal.
people a lot of time are surprised that they have Scott's personal cell number, not just the office number. And they'll text him. I mean, we'll be like relaxing in bed and 10 o'clock at night, and he'll get a text. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to go handle this."
Yeah.
And of course, I love that he does that dedication to the customers. Sometimes as the wife, like, hey, stay here. But our customers love it, and they love that when they have concerns or anything's happening, he's so available for them.
That's great. So you have 15 years of experience?
Yeah, I've been in the trades for about 15 years. I started in HVAC. I've done that for 10 years.
Wow.
Then I got into roofing, similar trade style, working with your hands and tools and stuff like that.
So in the last 15 years, have you seen technology or different materials come up? Or
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Especially in roofing, materials have come a long way. We're using a lot less nails nowadays. People are using peel and stick systems,
wow,
which is a good thing because you're not putting thousands of nails in your brand new roof.
interesting.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about that process. So the peel and stick. So once if you re-roof a house and you rip off the entire old roof, what's that process look like with the peel and stick? Because I've heard of that too.
Yeah, so what we do is we tear it down to the wood deck, and if we find any rotted or damaged wood, we replace that. And what we do is probably a little different than some other companies. Is we use what's called a seam tape.
Okay.
So anywhere where two plywood pieces butt up to each other, we cover those seams before we put the peel and stick down. I believe it's called a secondary water resistance. It's good for your insurance, stuff like that. And then we put on the peel and stick.
Let's stick.
Yep, it's basically comes with a big roll, like a big sticker,
Mhm.
and you use a big, heavy 80-pound roller to apply it on there.
And that
And
goes
then-
right on the plywood.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then where do the nails come in place from that point when you're nailing the shingles on?
Yeah, so you also use some nails on that for back nailing.
Okay.
Basically, what that is to reduce the slippage of the peel stick over time.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of holds it in place, but it's a lot less nails than you would use for a traditional 30-pound felt.
Gotcha.
So when you're pricing out a roof, where somebody's interested, is that something that you bring up? Like, is there a choice? Can I have peel and stick?
Yep. So we'll give you multiple options, premium systems and stuff like that. So we give the customer.
And the peel stick is the top of the line?
It's really up in the air on preference. Some people think it's better, and some people like the old school way better. So we give the customer the option to choose what.
What do you
they
like
want.
better?
I like the old school way better.
Really?
Just tar paper, right?
Yeah, 30-pound felt. It's just tried and true. We know for certain that that's been around for a long time and it works.
Right. Right.
Yep.
Because who knows? I mean, that adhesive stays on your plywood forever. How long is that adhesive going to be good for?
We get it off.
Yeah.
It goes down and it sticks pretty well.
So when, let's say you're taking off a roof with peel and stick, like how does that stuff even come off?
Yeah, it comes off.
Okay.
Basically, what we do is we wait until like midday when the sun's kind of out, so it loosens it up a little bit, and it comes off in one sheet. Sometimes there's some residue, but we get that off with scrapers.
Gotcha.
So do you guys both just work on, is it new roofs or is it re-roofs or is it
We-
fix and repair?
We
or-
do everything.
Yeah.
Anything from new construction, commercial, residential, re-roofs, repairs. We do inspections, maintenance, all that stuff.
Gotcha. So if there's a customer that thinks they have a leak, you walk the roof, check the attic, you find the roof, just easy repair.
Yep, easy.
Int-
Yep, and then once we get into pulling off either the tile or shingle, we can find out exactly how much wood needs to be replaced, and then we go from there.
Interesting. What about insurance? You guys working with insurance though or no?
Yeah, we work with insurance. We try to kind of stay away from that
Yeah,
a
I
little
don't
bit.
blame you.
They're not the easiest to work with, but it is something we do.
They're terrible, actually.
Yeah,
I would recommend paying cash, and if it's an insurance job,
you get reimbursed.
yeah, because you know why? In 2022, when we did that storm on the West Coast, there's still people that are living with plastic walls up
Yep.
Waiting for money.
and tarps on their roof for this long. So they went through that 2022 Ian,
Lean and Milton.
and then now it's blown off again, and like the houses keep getting wrecked because insurance companies just don't pay.
Yep.
So I tell everybody, your roof is the first thing that you got to cover, right?
It's the most important.
You have to. You can't even attempt to rebuild the inside of the house unless you protect your roof. So
Correct.
whatever you need to do to pay for it, just get it done, get your life back together, and then worry about the reimbursement from the insurance
Oh, of
company.
course. Yeah. Like us, most other roofing companies offer financing options and government grants and stuff like that. So there's ways.
So your company offers financing?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
So storm hits, they're going to take 2 years to pay for my roof. I need to get my roof done. I don't have the money out of pocket. I apply through your company.
Yeah, we have a partnership with a company called Hearth. It's a financing company. So you put your information into there. They give you your options.
Wow.
There's several different ways that they can help you out that way, and get the roof done in a timely manner.
Awesome.
And then Hearth pays you guys directly, I guess, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, the majority of the way it happens with them is Hearth pays the homeowner, and then the homeowner can pay us
Gotcha.
throughout the process.
Gotcha.
From
So
what I understand, it's kind of like a unsecured personal loan in a way.
Yeah,
that
they
they're
also
getting out
offer credit
specifically
cards
for
and stuff like
roofs.
that.
Gotcha.
So staying on the insurance line, is there a new, with all these new storms and these new policies coming out, new regulations, requirements?
So we haven't seen any requirements from the Florida Building Code yet, and aftermath of that stuff. After Andrew kind of secured our
The building code.
requirements,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right,
We
every
find
other
some stuff
state.
here and there where where the building departments will require higher uplift pressures designed for roofing and stuff like that, but that's just minor.
What about the
differences.
Teslas? What about the Tesla thing? You heard about that? Now the solar roof
No,
panels.
No.
I've heard of it. I haven't really seen anything
I
past.
think I seen one.
Where it's a roof that's panels.
It's the actual.
They're shingles.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
wow.
but they got the
Yeah.
solar in the.
Yeah, the solar cells in the shingles.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it anywhere yet.
I haven't seen it around yet, or it hasn't really been brought up to.
Yeah, I
to
did
my
one
attention.
monster home on the beach side. The guy had his whole roof with it's like Tesla roof.
roof.
I don't know
Do
how
you
that's
plug in
covered.
every shingle to each other like Christmas lights.
I think they overlap each other,
Wow.
and there's connections on each one.
Yeah.
Yep.
That sounds like a lot of electrical on your roof.
It's probably not cheap
Yeah.
either.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, I know even just putting like solar panels. I mean,
Yeah.
they're a big project to get into themselves, and especially if you need repairs or roof,
Mhm.
those things have to be moved out of the way prior to being able to access the roof.
Yep,
underneath.
disconnected and pulled
Right.
back.
Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
Whole
reconnected.
project.
I can't.
I just wonder if the savings from the electricity
Right.
is worth it. I have no idea.
Yeah. So how does it work with solar? So let's say you have an older roof. The solar company comes and installs the panels on the roof. Then they need to come off again and go back on. Who manages that? You guys as the roofer
Yeah,
or the
well,
solar
we manage.
company?
Yeah, we manage it as the project.
Mhm.
If roofing work's getting done, so when the solar company comes out, we want to be on site with them, just to make sure that they're not doing anything that's harming the roof, and we could be there to support them if they need anything from us.
Gotcha.
But they're
So-
ultimately responsible to remove it and then replace it.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah, yeah, it's a whole different license.
Stands,
Really?
They've put
Yeah.
stands on the roof and things like that.
So
right?
so what we do, we put the stands in
Okay.
most of the time. So we'll put the stands in for the solar company, and then they come in and
Put the
install it.
panels on it so they don't
Correct.
mess the roof up because they're
Correct.
not
Right, come
roofers.
in and start
Yeah.
drilling holes into my fresh
Yeah,
roof.
Right.
we like to keep our warranties alive that way because we don't want
Sure.
another company coming up onto the roof and messing something up for our customer.
Sure. Have you seen those epoxy roofs for like the commercial buildings where they spray like epoxy on top of the roof?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
seal it?
yeah. It's an elastomeric.
Yeah. How does
Yeah.
that work?
It's a cheaper alternative
Then
to
re-roofing?
than to re-roofing. It will extend the life of the roof, but it's really not technically a new roof.
Uh-huh.
It's what we would call a recovery system.
Okay. It looks like white paint, right?
Yep.
There's a huge company that always advertising that everybody sees all the time. Like they're
Yeah,
always
yeah.
advertising. I see it and I'm like, oh, that looks. They do like huge projects.
Oh yeah, and that type of system is really good for hurricane winds too.
Can you spray that on?
You can spray it on, you can roll it on. There's different applications.
Okay, that's good to know. So
Yep.
anybody looking for a commercial or wants a
Yep.
commercial application, you guys can do that. That's good to know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I have a lot of clients that have commercial buildings as well too. So and they're always like, "Oh, I need a roof. I need a roof." Seems like every 5 years you need a roof on a commercial building. It
Yep.
seems like because they're all flat roofs and they
Yeah.
don't last.
Yeah, well, you could put a system on that lasts a lot longer. It's just really a price. What are you willing to pay?
Right. And
Yeah.
people that own businesses, I mean, if they have to put a roof on every 5 years, it's an expense or
Yep.
whatever. If they put on the higher end roof, they're not sure if they're going to sell the building, keep the building.
Exactly.
What,
Yeah. Sometimes it's a more cost effective option for them to go a little
Right.
cheaper.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There was a commercial building that I knew. The guy they put it was 4 buildings. They put a new roof on 4 or 5 years ago, and then what happened was 2 years ago they hired a pressure washing company to come and pressure wash the roof and wreck the roof.
Mhm.
Yep.
Now they have to get a new roof again on 4 buildings.
Yeah, call your roofer
Call your
for your
roofer.
maintenance to the roof.
Yeah, no, the
Don't let
roofer was
people
like
touch
that.
it.
Listen, that's your fault. You guys went up there and you should have
Absolutely.
called us.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when we do large projects for commercial buildings and stuff, we do all the maintenance. That's going to be included in your contract price.
Interesting.
You give us a call every couple years. We come out. We'll pressure clean it. We'll make sure all the drains are draining properly.
For how long?
The life of the
Oh, wow.
life of the warranty.
It's good to know.
Yep.
Yeah, because when water sits on those flat roofs, it's just bad for it, right? If it's
Oh
not
yeah,
draining
yeah,
properly.
yeah. Any debris sitting up on drains and stuff like that, over time is not good for the roof.
Nobody's going on their roof every day,
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you guys fly drones too?
Yeah, we actually just bought a drone not too long ago.
Awesome.
So we're just getting into that for making videos and stuff.
What'd you
for
get? Which
advertising.
one?
It's the DJI Mini.
The Mini,
Yeah.
like AJ.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to start off with something a little more controllable until I get the hang of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when it comes to like maintaining barrel tile roofs, like concrete roofs, right? So I've had somebody come out and pressure clean my roof, and they completely like use way too many chemicals and it messed the roof up. So what do you recommend when you have people coming out to maintain your roofs? And do you guys maintain residential roofs?
Yeah, absolutely. We like to maintain and keep an eye on any roof that we put on.
Okay.
We want to see it at least every 2 years just to make sure any small issues don't become larger issues over time.
Hmm.
Um, and as far as pressure cleaning, we use algicide
Okay.
with a mixture of water,
Not bleach.
not bleach.
Gotcha.
No, no, no. So these tiles are porous, and you don't want them absorbing certain chemicals.
Mhm.
It could ruin the colors and the integrity of them.
Gotcha.
So is that also built into the price, like the service contract
Yep, we maintain all of our
for the life of
roofs.
the roof?
Yep, for the life.
So
of the
you do
roof.
my roof every 2 years, come back and clean it?
Yep, as long as you give us a call and schedule it with us, we'll come out. We'll check for any major issues.
Wow.
We'll clean it up.
That's awesome.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
I don't know anybody doing that.
No, that's a great part of the service.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's good to know.
Yeah, sure is.
We're going to talk a little bit about when you get a call from a homeowner and they say, "Hey, Century Roofing. Hey, Scott. Hey, Angela. We need a new roof. Our insurance company is going to drop us in 90 days. Like, what do we do? We're panicking right now."
Or even worse. Hi, my name is Paul. I'm calling. I want to get a free estimate on my roof. Do you do free estimates?
Absolutely.
Of
Yep.
course. That's what you're going to hear. Now, I need a new roof. My insurance company. They're going to say, "Hi, my name is Paul. I need a free estimate. Can you come out and do a free estimate on my roof?"
Yeah, yeah. So what we do is, we take down the information, the address, where they heard from us,
Yep.
stuff like that. How many stories the house is, what kind of roof they're looking to put on. Then I'll write it up for my estimator. My estimator usually could be there the same day to get measurements.
At that phone call, will the client know what type of roof they want or no?
Well, usually it's what's on the house
Oh, it's on
already.
it, gotcha.
If they know that they want to go to like a metal roof or something like that, that's something they'll tell me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
But I asked, what kind of roof is on there? What kind of roof are you interested in putting back on? So we'll get that information up front. I send it over to my estimator. He'll make a call to schedule a time to get out there. And then by the time he gets out there and writes it up and gives it to me, we have it back usually the same day, but probably the next morning.
Got it. So you email them the estimate.
Yep.
Do
So
you go through it verbally as well? Follow up with a phone
So,
call? Or
so yeah,
something?
so I'll send it out through email, and then a couple minutes later, I'll give them a phone call.
Do you do it or you?
I do it myself. Yeah, yeah. So
Sorry to interrupt though, but isn't there software that the roofing company can use to do an estimate without going out to the property? Have you heard of that?
yeah, yeah. So we use it. It's we use a software called Eagle View.
Okay.
So basically, it flies a satellite over your house, and it gets dimensions and measurements and stuff like that. So we use that, but we still like to go out to the house.
Okay.
Just to see it in person.
See the condition.
See the condition, get a count of how many vents and stuff like that are on
fascia
there.
board.
Yeah, just to verify that all the information we got's correct.
Gotcha.
And that way we can show face to the customer, make it a little more personal.
Yep.
If they have any concerns with the roof, they could bring it up to us at that point. That way, when we send them a proposal, they don't have to go back and forth and change things. We're pretty much ready to go.
True.
Yep.
So you go back. All right. So now we're at the estimate. You do the free estimate. You send them over the proposal. All right, great. We love you. Let's go with it. What happens next?
So then I get all the paperwork ready for permitting. I'll meet up with them wherever they like at their home or office or somewhere like that. We'll get all the paperwork signed for the permits. Whatever things need to happen. Some homes will need to have an engineer come out to do an inspection on their roof to wall connections.
For the permit?
For the permit, yeah, it'll be a requirement. So we'll get that all set up. And in the meantime, I'll have the paperwork ready to go until we get the certification back from the engineers. Once we get it back, I fly over to the building department or go online and submit them. And usually between a week and 3 weeks, we'll have a permit and we'll be ready to start almost immediately.
Nice. So an average home well, first of all, what areas do you work in?
Everywhere from Homestead to Lake Worth.
Okay, so
or-
you're
yeah.
South Florida, real
Yeah.
southeast. I mean,
Yeah.
Homestead. Oof.
Yeah, we've done jobs in Cape Coral, Fort Myers, so we'll go pretty much anywhere.
That's great. So, all right. So, permit. Obviously, the time is the city, right? The city takes
Yeah.
forever, which is a pain in the ass all the time. But
What about materials when it comes to getting materials right now? How hard is it to get
Not that hard.
materials?
We work with multiple suppliers.
Okay.
So if someone doesn't have this that we need, we'll go somewhere else and get it. So we're not really seeing any issues getting supplies to jobs.
Okay.
We can usually have stuff there the next day.
Right. So now, obviously, is it during the estimate? I'm backing up a little bit. During the estimate, or like at what point do you discuss color and type and style and?
Yeah, so once I send the proposal out, I include links on there
Got
for
it.
different companies for shingles and what colors they're interested in. And then once we go to get the paperwork signed, part of our contract will have an area for them to write in
Got it.
what materials they want.
Gotcha.
That's cool. Okay, so they go in with it. Everything looks great. You drop the permits. Permits are approved. Selections are done. Material is now loaded, right?
Correct.
So you'll load the material before you do anything else.
Yeah, so we'll have
Well, what about demo? Right, demo first or no?
yeah, so we do the tear off and the drying in the same day. So we'll get our first material order there the day we start,
Mhm.
and we'll get it tore off and dried in and ready for the first inspection in the first day.
Wow.
What's the reason why you guys do that? It's because for rain and moisture, right?
Correct. Yeah, you don't
Okay.
want to leave it opened up overnight.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You don't want the wood ever exposed to the elements.
No, because if anything, if rains or the dew in the morning, it could bring moisture into the house.
Right. You
Yeah.
don't want to seal that in with
Correct.
between the tar paper or whatever before the roof
Yep.
goes back on, right?
hmm
So
That's
demo one, day one, demo, dry.
Dry, and then we'll have our inspections the following day. And the same day as that inspection, we'll have our shingles delivered or our tiles delivered.
Right.
And we have to do what's called a in progress inspection, which is where we'll lay up about 25% of the roof in shingles or tiles. And we'll have an inspection on the attachment method.
Hmm.
So once we get the approval that the attachment method is okay from the city,
What does that entail?
they just come, they watch you, how you're putting it down, whether if it's shingles, the nailing pattern, or if it's tile, we use a polyfoam,
Yep.
the correct measurements of foam. And once we get the approval on that, then we can go ahead and shingle it all the way up and tile
Right.
it all the way up.
So do that, and then that's signed off. And then how long is the whole process till it's complete?
It depends on the size of the roof,
Mhm.
but usually we could do, a normal size home in a day.
What's normal?
I would say about 3,000 square feet.
Okay. Wow. That's pretty quick.
Yeah, we get that done in a day.
Yeah, you got to get that done.
With tiles, a little bit different. It takes a little bit longer, so I'd say maybe a day and a half. The
Gotcha.
tile.
What about metal? You guys do a lot of metal?
We don't do a lot of metal, but we do it occasionally. It's just so expensive, so a lot of people are sticking to the more traditional
And
stuff.
I think metal was really popular for a lot of years. It was like everyone wanted a metal roof.
Sure.
And I think just through time, people are finding that insurance companies aren't giving them, oh, they last 50 years. Insurance companies don't care.
Insurance companies aren't
Right.
giving
They're
the
not
50 years
giving
on
the
them.
50, so
Right.
they have to replace them anyways.
Really?
I think they're just becoming less like desirable almost.
Yeah, I've heard things that the state of Florida's trying to ban shingles.
Really?
Yeah, so they're kind of
Mind-boggling.
trying to move towards tile and metal
For
roofs
the whole state?
For the whole state. Yep.
I heard something that they were talking about HOAs could not tell you what type of roof you could put on your house. Like you were allowed to put metal or shingle because it was just unaffordable.
Yeah.
Some people couldn't afford to put the tiles on. They went with shingle, but I don't know if that ever went through or not. Did you hear about that?
I didn't hear about that, but I don't think so because there's a lot of communities that are strictly tile roofs.
Right, like
and
this
if
one,
you
right?
were if you were to put a shingle roof in there, it would stick out.
I
as
feel
sore
like if you
thumb.
bought into it too, like
The
you're always
rules
gonna
and
have to
regs,
have a
right.
tile. So
Yeah.
just make sure it's in your budget if you're buying into a tile roof company or
Yeah.
community.
So, Angela, you're an insurance expert. What are these insurance companies looking for these days with residential roofs? Like,
They want
it's
brand new
crazy.
roofs. They really want everyone to have a brand new roof with no issues because they don't want to be paying for constant repairs. They don't want you to lose your entire roof in a storm. And whether we like it or not, if your roof is aged, it's at higher risk for damages when a hurricane comes through.
Mhm.
And that's why the market with insurance is what it is in Florida because hurricanes come through and we're on the East Coast. We've been 10 years without a bad hurricane over this side, like decent sized
yeah,
hurricane.
they've all been
over
hitting the
here.
West Coast.
Right,
for
the
the
West
last 10
Coast has
years.
been getting it.
Getting lucky.
Don't jinx us.
Right. But yeah, so I mean, we go all these years, and so now our roofs that we got all done in like Wilma, they're all getting older. These insurance companies know that next big storm, every one of those Wilma roofs that got done after Hurricane Wilma, they're all gonna have to get done again.
Right, and that was 05, right?
Right,
Or
'cause
06.
people they're hitting that 20-year mark, and those
Yep.
people are waiting for a hurricane to get their roofs done by the
So
insurance
20 years is the
companies.
number?
Well, I
Well, it's
mean,
shingle, right? Isn't it shingle tile? It's like shingles 20 from what I hear after
you'd
20.
have to ask the pro there on
No,
that.
I
But
mean not the longevity of the roof. I'm talking about what insurance companies are looking for.
Oh, yeah. So insurance companies, everyone's a little bit different, and they have gotten off of the 20 years, 15 years, 30 years, and they want a specific inspection. How much does your roof have left on
Mhm.
it?
Yeah, they'll
that's
give
what
it
it
life
should be.
expectancy
Right, because
based off an
if you
inspection.
did the proper maintenance, then it's going to last you a whole lot longer than
Sure.
somebody that threw it up there and then never looked at it
That's
again.
true.
Because
Gotcha.
that roof isn't going to last as long, so they don't care if it's 20 years. It's how long does
It's the
your roof
condition of the
have?
roof.
Right.
Is that the way they go into now? Because
Yeah.
that would make more
It's not a
sense.
sweet
Yeah.
spot. It's
Like
not
it's
a
not fair
designated.
if they're maintaining the roof, it's not fair that you're forced because of a 20-year expectancy.
Exactly. They
But
want
yet
to
your
see
roof
that
could
you
have another
have like
10.
5+ left. That's their
5 to
like
7.
comfort. 5 to
5 to
7. They
7,
want
yeah.
to see that you have left if you're new business. If you're existing business with the insurance company, when it hits that like 3-year mark, they're gonna start talking.
They start sending letters.
Yeah, let you know it's
Now,
time.
do you actually do those inspections for insurance? When
Yep. Yep.
So you could go up in the roof and say you have 5 to 7 years left.
We don't like to do that just because we're not insurance agents,
Got it.
and we don't want to give someone a life expectancy and then the insurance company sends out their own inspector
Mhm.
Or the
they give a
mortgage
different
company.
Mhm.
different life
True.
expectancy.
Right,
So
then-
we don't really like to do that, but we could we can go give an inspection and say this is roof's looking good. We would request that they do some maintenance or some repairs and stuff to keep the life expectancy high.
Right.
Mhm.
And then for insurance, it's a specific like 4 point. It's not just the roof. It's got, the electrical, the hot water heater. So
Right.
that's the inspection they're looking for insurance wise anyways. But sometimes they do want to supplement. Like after we've gone, that 4 point found a problem with the roof, we come in and fix it. Now they want like an addendum, inspection showing, hey, look, the roof's good now too.
Yeah,
So
Is
we can
metal
help out
really
there.
hard to put on?
it's not that it's hard to put on.
It's more challenging than the others?
It's a different subset of roofing. So the tools are a lot different. They all crimp on together in one big panel. So
Right.
so it's not really the same as nailing down shingles or tiles.
Yeah. And then I heard there's different types of metal. Like one's knockoff metal and one's good.
Yeah, they got a galvalume and then they got a couple different styles that you can put on, and they have different crimp patterns and
There's
All
different
panel
grades of
sizes.
metal. I mean, there's different thicknesses of metal
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
Different gauges, I should say.
Yeah, we use
This is a
we use
stupid
24
question, but
gauge and some
is
people
there-
use.
Is there aluminum roofs?
Yeah.
They're aluminum.
Yep.
Interesting. All I know is in the storm, my opinion, look at a block and the whole block is wiped out and
There's one metal.
there's one metal roof on a house and
Well, they can't lift. I mean,
that's
the wind's
standing,
not
like,
getting
strong
under
as could
that.
be.
Yep.
They don't lift, right?
Yeah,
That's
because
the biggest
they
thing.
crimp together and they're solid, so they're not gonna get wind in between them. So they will last hurricanes
Yeah,
better
I-
than
I've
shingles
literally
tile.
seen blocks knocked out. And you know what's even more that's stronger than the metal roof? Goddamn tiki huts.
Right.
The hurricane gods like protect
I don't
tiki
understand
huts.
how that
Those
happened.
last through all.
Because the wind goes through the hut. You ever
Is there
sit
an
under a
actual
tiki
reason?
hut?
It's not just like
It's not hot.
In the summer, it's
I
like
don't
10 degrees cooler
I don't
than it is
understand.
not sitting under the
I
hut.
watched blocks knocked out.
And tiki
No
huts are good.
houses.
Yeah.
Tiki hut.
they
huts
gotta
in
get into the
back.
tiki hut business.
Palm
The tiki
fronds.
hut's still perfect.
Palm fronds.
I don't understand.
I guess
Hey,
yeah,
man,
it's made
they've
out
been
of
doing
big
it
palm
forever.
trees and it just goes right through it. The wind.
Those are original Florida roofs from
My
the
tiki
Seminoles.
hut doesn't. It's perfect. Doesn't leak. I don't know how it.
My dad's changed his twice. His tiki hut is they
Yeah.
call it rethatching.
Yep.
Yeah, read
got-
that.
yeah,
They,
I've had
they
to
put
do it
new
twice.
pieces into it and
Yeah.
But it's just
braided
funny
in
to
there.
see. Like literally, the blocks leveled, and there's 3 tiki huts by the pool.
It's amazing.
Standing,
Yeah.
and the cars in the pool.
That just tells
Right.
you us Floridians, we like to have a good drink in a tiki hut after a hurricane.
Yeah.
So.
There you go.
Or
That's a
stirring.
mic drop right there. We can end it on that.
So obviously in your space, like every business, especially in South Florida, but there's just a ton of competition,
Yep.
a ton.
Mhm.
So what do you pride yourself on to stand out from the rest?
I really pride myself on responsiveness and honest work and being upfront with customers before and after. Just being available to them. A lot of these companies are much bigger than us.
Mhm.
So they're not looking at their customers the same way we are.
True.
We look at them as people just like us, trying to make a living, and we don't want to rob them if we don't
Of course.
we want to do the best job we can at a reasonable price and keep some money in their pocket.
Yeah. So when we built a couple houses, and we had years ago, we had estimates from 100,000 to 40,000. Like, it just, that doesn't make sense. Like, I don't understand. Within a couple thousand, but I mean, to swing that difference is just crazy.
There's a big spread out there. If you get 3 different quotes, they're going to be all different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
it's
you get a roof done.
Yeah, there's multiple roofing systems that could be put on in the same house. So you really have to look into the contract to
And the
see
details.
what the details are, because someone might be doing the bare minimum, and they could lower the price a lot and beat out a lot of the other proposals.
I think that you were telling me about a woman that you met with. She, hey, I have another quote from another company. It's, it's this much less money. Why is there such a difference? And Scott took the time to go over line by line, and turns out it's a approved like
Yeah.
system, but it was just not what she thought she was getting. And Scott took that time to explain it to her, and she ended up selecting the one that was a little more expensive because it was a more quality roof.
Yeah, we include things like right off the bat, we include a couple sheets of plywood for the wood decking, because living in South Florida, we expect there to be some rotted or damaged or termite damaged wood on there. A lot of companies won't include anything, and then once they get into the tear off, they hit you with the bill for extra
It's like
wood.
a change order.
Yeah, because we can't really tell you how much wood you're gonna need until we get into the tear off. So it's almost impossible to include it into the contract.
Gotcha.
But I always let everybody know up front that that's a possibility, that we could have to replace some wood. We're going to include 4, 5, 6 sheets of wood up front just to hopefully cover everything.
So do you run across mold a lot?
We see it a lot, but we're mostly up on top of the roof,
Right.
and the mold's probably going to be in the attic area.
Mm.
So when we're doing re-roofs, we're not really in the attic too much.
Yep.
Mhm.
So we don't
Unless
identify
it's
it.
leaking inside or something. If it's
Yeah.
a roof leak, then
If we see some rotted wood up there, we pull it out. We'll inspect it underneath to see if we see mold, and we'll let customers know.
interesting. So again, mom and pop company.
Mhm.
What's that saying that we used to say? We're big enough to know, we're small enough. What was that thing?
Which one? I don't know.
Back in the day, back in the mortgage industry, Mike used to say a lot.
Get your financing in line with
We're
mainline.
mom and pop. No, we're
Big
we're
enough
not
to
a
do the
big
job.
corporation, We're mom and pop,
Right.
which we're
That wasn't my line.
I forgot what it was.
Right.
Big enough to do the job, but not. But I don't remember.
I don't know.
Small enough to care about doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. And
What's your tagline, Scotty?
That's it now.
That's it?
But it is
Big enough to know your name.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
There you go.
I forgot what it was, but it's a good one, and it's the reason why I mentioned that, it's true.
Right.
It's like a lot of these big companies are just a number. They could care less.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Mhm.
They just want the money, and it's a speed
What's
race.
the phone number on your file?
Yeah. Once you sign a contract, you're
Yeah, it's
You're on the
another
hook.
number. Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tell everybody, even myself. I mean, especially in my space, I rather deal with a mom and pop company all day than a big box company.
Yeah, because that's how we pay our bills and feed our families and stuff too. So we take it very seriously, and
Yep.
obviously word of mouth is huge for us, and we do everything we can to make the customer happy.
And that's where most of your business comes from right now, is word of mouth.
Yep.
Any marketing or advertising right
We're
now?
we're just getting to doing some marketing where we're taking videos and doing reels and stuff
Yeah,
like
trying to
that.
get into the new age.
Doing
Yeah.
podcasts.
Doing
Doing
podcasts.
podcasts.
I'm on Angie's list,
There
stuff
you
like
go.
that.
That's
So
awesome.
we're in the beginning stages of getting a marketing campaign
Cool.
going.
Yeah, that's great. Referrals, obviously, are the bloodline of any business.
Bread
It
and
means that you're doing a
butter.
great job, and
Yep.
somebody's going to put your name on it. So
Mhm.
that's awesome. Um,
Oh, we also have what I think a lot of customers really like is our referral program.
tell me.
I was just going to talk about
Yeah,
that. I'm glad you brought it up.
yeah,
You're
we
You
don't-
always say that, dude.
What do you mean? It's right here, the
You always
referral
say that.
program.
Yeah, okay. So go ahead. Let me hear your idea. Because
So it's not just like, oh, thanks for giving us a person. Like, we actually reward our customers back
Nice.
for letting if they say, hey, I'm calling because Mr. Smith told me to call you, we're gonna reward you. I'm not sure the exact setup it is, but
Yeah, it's depending on the size of the contract we sign, but a couple $100 here. If it's a larger roof, $500-600.
wow,
hey, we'll give them
We
gift
sign
cards.
personal cards, mail them out to you.
Nice.
We check in them.
that's awesome.
Yep, and every time I get a phone call for a re-roof, I ask for, how'd you hear about us? If they give us that name, we write up a check for them, and as soon as we sign a contract, send it over to them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
nice.
Give back a little bit.
Yep,
Yeah.
Very cool.
give them back
Right.
some of their money.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice night out for dinner or whatever. That's nice. Yeah,
Yep.
and people remember that forever.
Of course, yeah.
And
it's
we've
an
had people-
appreciation for for their referral.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And there's some people that'll try to like, they like, oh, if I get 10 of my friends to come in and we sign contracts with them, they're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I can make a little penny.
They want that
So,
affiliate
yeah,
program,
they
right?
Yeah.
Here,
they
sign
like
up for
it.
this link for the affiliate program. Put this code in.
Punch your
Right.
card.
Right? Yeah.
So tell me why the last before we wrap, the holy grail of your company. Tell me what everybody needs to know and why they should choose us.
You should choose us because we're gonna take care of you like you are a friend of ours or a family member. We're gonna do the best we can. We're gonna give you the most opportunities to make decisions that you need to make, and not just treat you like a number.
Got it.
It's awesome.
I think to add on that as well is I think a lot of contractors, we have a bad rep for being unresponsive, for bait and switch, for things like that. I really love that we take the pride of being that honest person. I think my husband is one of the most honest people I've ever met, and he's really taking that into this space.
That's great.
And it's gonna make a difference. I think people feel it, and they're gonna like what they have with our
Awesome.
service.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because people these days you can't hide. If you're doing bad stuff out there, it's going to get out there, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get bad reviews. You're not going to be in business too much longer.
Right.
There's so many shady contractors that come in and out of South Florida.
Mhm.
And they're just, they take people's money. They don't do what they said they're going to do. And they don't last because now
Right.
everything's out there.
Yep.
Before, they used to get away with it a lot more, but you can't hide right now.
Yeah, the internet's
yeah.
unforgiving.
But it's
Yeah.
great for people like us that do the right
Yep.
thing and take pride in what we
Mhm.
do and really go that extra mile for our customers.
Yep.
And I know you guys do that as well.
Yep.
So I see you guys are on Instagram. It's at Century Roofing INC.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Mhm.
So everybody needs to follow you guys
Yep.
at Century
Yep.
Roofing Inc. And then they can email you at centuryroofing4@gmail.com, right?
Yep.
That is
And
correct.
what's the best number that people can get in contact
It's
you
going to
with?
be 954-236-5767.
Awesome.
That's the direct line to my cell phone, so I'll be reached anytime during the day.
So you can text or call that number.
You could call that number, and then I'll reach back out on a textable number.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
You gonna rap?
No, you can rap too.
I'm not rapping. You rap.
Well, I appreciate having you guys on. It was awesome.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you
us.
so much.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Definitely good information. And then obviously I'll be calling you soon when I figure
Say,
out
we'll
if
talk
I'm
to you
going
about your
up
roof soon.
or out. I don't know. What I'm doing
Just
in my
let us
house.
know. We'll be there to help.
Right.
It's a decision that's just never ending. Move.
Yep.
And your
Well-
architect never called me back.
Oh, you have to give them a call. You got to follow up.
Follow up, yeah.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank you so
AJ.
much.
Awesome
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
absolutely. Yep.